Alright everyone, welcome to Rosetta Stone installing updates. Rosetta Stone is not installing updates, damn it. Rosetta Stone is like crashed and broken, which is why I've got a little more time tonight than I would normally have. I've actually been trying to learn another language, just a little insider fact that I think I've revealed to the core elite group of subscribers who's watching Lufia 2. And you know, it probably won't surprise too many people to know what language it is I'm trying to learn. I'm a nerd. I'll give you a hint. Watashi wa jitensha wa jisai desu. See? I can speak that language like a pro. Although I'm probably made a mistake even in that sentence, which is actually incredibly simple if you speak the language. No, this screen is coming up because I'm playing with the PS2 emulator, and I've discovered, I don't know if I changed a setting, but if I try to pause the screen now so I can get some intro speech going, it minimizes the PS2 window, so I can't just kind of pause it on the loading screen and talk to you, which is what I really wanted to do, because I kind of wanted to build up to what this LP is going to be. I don't know why I do this. I always want to do this on the first video of an LP, when the name of the game that I'm playing is in the title of the video, and yet here I am pretending you don't know what you're about to watch. This is... Well, as I record this, I'm thinking it's going to be my 1,000 subscriber special. I don't know if that's actually going to be the case. If so, disregard everything I say about 1,000 subscriber special. I'm at 961 subscribers right now, I believe. I recorded quite far ahead on Lufia 2, so I've got quite a few Lufia 2 videos to go. Meaning by the time Lufia 2 is done and I'm ready to start uploading this, I may have made it to 1,000. I hope I have. I hope that RTKX brings in the new subscribers. The irony is, for my 1,000 subscriber special, I'm supposed to be thanking the subscribers, but the game I'm playing is going to be probably the most self-indulgent game that I play in my entire LP career. In a way, it makes sense to do it for my 1,000 subscriber special, because this is quite possibly my favorite game of all time. It's my favorite RPG of all time, which is strange because to me this game is not a game that I think of as a nostalgia RPG. This is not an RPG from my childhood. I was a good deal younger than I am now. I'm giving away my age a little bit, but I consider myself a grown man who was like, you know, working a job and living in an apartment of my own, taking care of myself when I first played this game. Even though for other people who, and the game is not, I mean, I looked at the title screen, I was blown away by how old this game is. I'd completely forgotten how old this game is. But for me, this is like not a nostalgia title. I still think of this as a recent game. I've played RPGs that have come out since this, and you know, the graphics to me aren't noticeably better. I'm sure that they are. Like you could sit there and hack, or sorry, not hack, but just you could crunch the numbers and see, oh, the resolution and the pixels per inch and stuff like that, or whatever the graphical, I don't know the graphical terms, but I know that this game is dated. But to me, the graphics were like, the big difference is this is the first game I played that was fully voice acted. Like there's little bits of, you talk to NPCs around the world and you can see, and it's not going to voice act everything, but all the plot stuff is voice acted, which was just a big step forward for me. But no, this is one of my favorite games, and it's time to get on with playing it. And it's my 1,000 subscriber special, and the irony there, of course, is that my RPGs are, I've now got 1,000 subscribers, or as I record this, I'm very close, which is supposed to be a big step as an LPer. I guess somehow having 1,000 is a bigger deal than having 900 and some. But you're supposed to celebrate your subscribers, and I think I'll do some kind of and this will be a preview if I end up posting this before I get to 1,000, in which case all this is silly, but I'll do something where like I open it up to viewer questions and collect questions and answer them in a video or something like that. And I might even do some Rebel Roses XX, just a match or two as a joke, because that's one I'd done on previous specials. But as a matter of fact, I might end up playing that while I answer the questions. I don't know, but this is the LP that I'm starting from 1,000, and the irony is, of course, my RPGs are the least watched thing on my channel by a good margin. But for me, this is where I started. My first LP was an RPG. Then I took a little break with that was Tecmo Secret Stars. Took a little break with Rocky and Bullwinkle, and then launched into another RPG, and it was. That's pretty much what I was doing, just a little short game between RPGs, which are taking up most of the time and most of the videos. So I'm going back to RPGs, and I'm going with one of my favorite games of all time. Now we continue the suspense builds, even though the title of the video tells you what game it's going to be. This is the first RPG I've ever played, LP'd from Squaresoft. I've been avoiding Squaresoft and trying to play more obscure titles. I've been avoiding Final Fantasy. But here is a Final Fantasy game, unbelievably to me, it's like 10 years old. It was produced by a Japanese guy. Directed by various Japanese people. And although I understand what each of these items are and why they're iconic to the game, they do look incredibly silly piled together like that. The sword is potentially kind of cool from a fantasy perspective, but the wand and the ball are just lame. So, you can't do s'mores. Nobody bought marshmallows. No marshmallows, yeah. No marshmallows, baby. I wish we had some marshmallows. Man, I can't believe we don't have marshmallows. I can't sit around with you guys with no s'mores. I'm sorry. I should have brought marshmallows. It's my fault. It's okay. We still love you. Don't go changing. Except maybe learn to remember to bring the marshmallows next time. It is my fault. Everything that goes wrong. Anyway, I guess I could take a look at the ruined city. Wow, this scene sure is kind of mysterious. Nobody knows who any of us are. Music's dramatic. Kind of makes you wonder what's going on. I know one thing I'm not wondering about. One thing I know. The s'mores would be mighty tasty right about now. Oh, smell that air. Kind of makes me think of chocolate and marshmallows and graham crackers. Man, I could do with some s'mores. Ghost Story's no good without them. Still, though, poor kid, she's doing her best. Final Fantasy X. A Tale of S'mores and the Lack Thereof. International? Oh, I forgot I was playing the international version for a second. Hey, Titus, what about your line? Oh, he only says it if you actually pick new game. Okay, folks, well, I told you I'm learning a little bit of Japanese, but I'm basically learning the spoken, like to try to understand it spoken and speak it myself. I haven't really got too far with knowing how to read any of this stuff. It's a horribly confused little written language anyway, because they took the Chinese alphabet and they sort of crammed it in. So it was a total round peg, square hole situation. They took the Chinese alphabet and they crammed it into the Japanese spoken language, which was already pretty much established. And at one point, I looked up and found out what these things mean. I don't know anymore. What we're going to be asked, folks, is if we want our menus to be in English or Japanese, and then we're going to be asked if we want to use the international spear grid, or the like challenge spear grid, or the default spear grid. Final Fantasy X International is a re-release of Final Fantasy X. The sphere grid will be explained later, but basically the challenge version of the sphere grid is the main difference between this game and the original version, which I don't think the international version was even made available in America, but whatever. The point is, I've got a saved state that we're going to load from once we get into the game, so this doesn't matter too much. Although I think I may have saved over it with like leveling and stuff. We might have to play through with Japanese menus for a while until I get caught up, because I'm silly. This is probably asking me if that's okay, so I'll say yes. Okay, we'll see here in a minute now if I did all this right. I just did my cute little sketch about s'mores that I dreamed up very shortly before going to record this, and now it's all shot because we have to sit through this again. I forgot. Anyway, what you've got there are the collected weapons of most of your party members, although I don't think all of them are there. Lulu's, she's the girl on the right. Her weapon is too ridiculous for them to put in that shot to try to make look cool. Waka's was a ball, so his is actually also too ridiculous, but they put it in anyway. They really probably should have gone, if they wanted to look cool, with Orin, Komari, and Titus's weapons. Yuna's sort of kinda. Her eyes don't match. She has one green eye and one blue eye. Somebody explained to me years ago on a forum when I was kind of surprised by that and said so, that she's piebald. It's not a term I'd ever heard before. I looked it up. Indeed, it refers to someone whose eyes are two different colors, but that someone is a horse. Humans aren't piebald. As far as I know, it doesn't happen. If it does, it's extremely rare. But we are in a game that's got like a blue Muppet guy down, as you can see, between Yuna and Orin, and you don't know who they are yet. I'm assuming, I'm going to play this game with the assumption you haven't played it before, even though it was one of the most popular RPGs of all time, I suppose. I know Boba the Vulture never played this, and he's pretty much obligated to watch this LP. It is like going to be my 1,000 subscriber special. Ah, yeah, smell that fresh air of the ruined city of ancient weirdness. Playing this the first time, it's supposed to be mysterious and haunting, and you're wondering who are these people and what's going on. You will eventually get to this scene in the main story.
Listen to my story.
We're listening.
This may be our last chance.
Go ahead. I'm listening. It's my Fraser Crane. What do you think? Fraser, that's an odd thing to pop into my head after this much time. The show is massively popular. Now it's all but forgotten. That happens really fast nowadays. It takes no time at all. A show doesn't have to be off the air for very long before it's completely forgotten these days. And on that sad little thought... And here we are in Funk It Down. Won't you take me to Funk It Down? Won't you take me to Funk It Down? There's a little like face in that spinny thing there, like wearing shades. And there's a little ghost baby. I don't know what the hell that is. Sound in? Have you died and you come back from ancient Chinese hell to haunt us? Here's a close-up of the protagonist's ass. Sadly, I can't use menu buttons yet. Oh, I can't accidentally talk to them from a distance. I didn't... Oh, never mind. I haven't actually gotten to being able to control my character yet. Whee! Can't use the menu buttons, which means I can't tell whether we picked the correct language for the menus. Excuse me. Don't care about the sphere grid much. It's not going to make much of a difference. If I chose the standard one, I'll just play with that till we get to the point where I actually was leveling up characters using the non-standard grid, and then I'll show you the differences. It might even be better if I get the standard grid, because I won't have to think about any decisions. The standard grid is very straightforward, gives you very little freedom. The international version, challenge grid, gives you a lot more branches that you can take, and the idea is that you can screw up and give yourself a bad character. So it might be better if I get the standard one, because I can just zip through the first part of the game and then get to... And I'll just have one video where, you know, we first get to the point where I'm loading that save state. I can be like, okay, here, let me show you how I leveled up my characters. And yeah, the first chunk of the game, then it won't have mattered, but... Or it won't match up, but that's okay. What'll be annoying is if I accidentally chose Japanese for the menu. And I think the subtitles will be in Japanese, too. Maybe it'll be a learning experience for you guys. You can learn to read Japanese. So, we're Titus. We can't get out of here without talking to one of the two groups. Either the little kids on the left or the chicks on the right. Who do you think he's going to talk to first? I'll tell you who he's going to talk to first. The ladies.
Can I have your autograph?
Oh, good, it's English.
Of course.
So I had a 50-50 chance, and I got it right. Now, this is Titus, the immortal and famous hero of Final Fantasy X. Titus's name you get to input for yourself. We'll throw back to the old days where you got to name your main character. It's something that doesn't show up in many of the new RPGs. There's a reason this doesn't show up in any of the new RPGs, and it'll become apparent to you as we play this game. If you name your main character in a game that's fully voice-acted, nobody can refer to the main character by name throughout the story. And most of the time you can get around this, and the dialogue sounds perfectly natural, but there are occasions where it just becomes screamingly obvious that they had to... Again, round peg, square hole, or square peg, round hole. They had like dialogue that absolutely needed to flow a certain way, and they had to hammer it and change it and screw it around to avoid having characters refer to Titus by name. It's even worse on Final Fantasy X2. I don't want to spoil the plot of that game, because that would involve spoiling the plot of this game, but there's a lot of points in Final Fantasy X2 where Tidus is not personally around, and other characters have to refer to him, talking about events from this game, or talking about current events. I don't want to, spoil anything that's happening for you. The point is, Tidus is not necessarily as big a part of that game. Other characters still have to talk about him because he's too important to the Final Fantasy X universe to ignore, and thus you have characters who are talking about him in the third person and having to, tiptoe around the fact that they can't use his name, and it becomes ridiculous. It's one thing for Yuna to keep calling him you. It's another thing entirely for Riku to be talking to Yuna about you know who or that guy. It's kind of lame. Anyway, I'm gonna call him Tidus, because that's his frickin' name. Apparently, there was some debate on the internet about whether his name is supposed to be Tidus or Tidus. I think it's Tidus, and if you disagree, whatever. Go have a little Tidus party with your Tidus friends. His name is never spoken aloud, so nobody can really be sure of the answer anyway. Unless you, track down an interview with the game creators and they tell you, and people who do that kind of shit piss me off. So let's go and have Tidus as our main character.
Good luck tonight!
Nothing to worry about.
Don't worry, I'll be getting lucky.
Oh, if I score a goal, I'll, do this.
It means I'm a
That'll mean we're
douchebag.
through, okay? What seat?
He's blocking the front row!
Oh my god, your
It's
voice.
to the right!
Got it.
So, you two like hanging out together? You like doing anything else together? Sports athlete guys? You like doing them together? I'll talk to these kids too. You don't have to talk to both groups. Basically, either of these conversations initiates you choosing your name.
Can you sign this?
No prob.
Please?
Alrighty.
You have to ask me to sign it. You can't just assume I'm gonna do it because...
Take it easy.
Kids, you have to individually make your requests. You're not one collective, are you? And then you try to leave and...
Well, gotta go. Cheer for me.
2, 3. Teach us how to blitz!
Hey, I got a game to play.
Then teach us after.
Maybe tonight,
Tonight you're supposed to get with the chicks.
Camp tonight.
I mean tomorrow.
I take all my orders from the mysterious purple hooded kid.
Promise.
This seems way over involved to me, but then again, I've been reading Chinese novels recently, and they're kowtowing all over the damn place. So this is a good time to mention I have to LP this because Shady Knight's his LP of this seems to have stalled. I'm assuming that ours are the only two LPs of this game that are on the internet, so I figured I better pick it up. Nobody else has LP this game, right? What is that face about? I don't like the guy in the building.
I was in a coffee shop running away from home when I heard the news.
Supreme Dictator looks
Our
like he's
hero,
like a
Jack,
rock and roll
gone,
band.
Vanished into thin air.
You guys gonna talk
My
to me?
dad must have been his biggest fan. I knew how sad he'd be. Heck, we all were that day. Zanar, I says to myself, what are you thinking?
What kind of name is
I went
Zanar?
running straight back home. We sat up talking about Jack all night. My dad and I
yeah,
never
but he was
talked
about
so
to
much.
Whatever.
Whoa. Didn't mean to reminisce, folks.
You can't start without me.
Anyway, 10 years later, the Jack Memorial Cup tournament is today. The two teams that have won through to the finals are, of course,
Jack
the Apes
Jr.
from A East and the Duggles from C South. I know there's a lot of people out there today to see the star of the Apes. In just 1 year, he's become the team's #1 player. He's Jack's blood and the new hope of Blitzball.
What's his name, though?
What kind of super play will he show us today?
Can you give us his
Will
name?
we see his father's legendary shot? I don't think I'm the only one excited here, folks.
You guys gonna give me items or anything? Are you the two girls that I was gonna do it with earlier? Don't let them down, don't let us down. Whoosh. He's gonna be the MVP. He's gonna blame the fans. Looks like Abe Knuckleball Schwartz.
Make way, make way.
Get the fuck out of my way!
Coming through. Sorry.
Sorry, language. This is potentially PG Let's Play if I keep my own language clean.
Let go of me.
Get off me! I need to go up there. I'm being paid to be a douchebag in the arena. I guess those are I'm picking up things I never noticed before. I think those are the logos on those little blue round screens of the two teams that are playing. Blitzball will be an important part of the game, sadly. God, I'm wet. I didn't even take a shower or anything. I'm just this sweaty. Uh-oh, electric ball of death. Apparently he has his own personal locker room where he's steeped in liquids. So people are still coming in to watch the game even though apparently it's already started. He gets up out of the, like, backed up toilet he was sitting in and energy sucked in and there's an explosion and I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell what's supposed to be happening with Blitzball anyway. The death metal that's playing in the background suggests something ominous. And here he is, folks. My favorite character in this game and just about any RPG actually. Kind of hard to tell why at the moment. It's like big wave coming. Doesn't seem to care. Doesn't really strike me as a surfer. Meanwhile, people are underwater wrestling. It's like water polo meets professional wrestling. And shapely chicks spin in classic Japanese cinematic style. Shoulder blocks are delivered by Todd. Did he just whack the shit out of a girl? And people other than our... You know, like, this is Orin, by the way. People other than Orin seemed rather panicked. Orin doesn't seem to care that there's a huge wave of destruction pouring over the city. There's Titus's teammates. He'll be a huge part of the story. Don't worry about that. I assume there's teammates because they're wearing the same colors, even though he seems to have a completely unique uniform. It's like, yeah, I'm a ballerina from... See, thoroughly confused the first time I watched this. I just assumed this was part of the Blitzball game. But no, the city is in fact being destroyed in the middle of his sporting event. Come on, you were able to fly a minute ago. Wow. That can't be much fun for old Titus. I mean, I was having a bad game, but I didn't think I was going to destroy the city. Try to get back in there and score another goal before time runs out. Nope, no good. Oh, there's a familiar-looking face in the corner. That's him in the corner. That's him in the spotlight. Orin.
What are you doing here?
I was waiting for you.
What are you talking about?
Is it that hard to understand, buddy? Death metal's over. I talked over the whole song, I'm sorry. You'll get to hear it again, like at the very, very end of the game, basically. By all means, if you're enjoying anything about this game, go play it yourself instead of listening to me talk over the whole thing.
Huh?
Huh? Alright, this is getting kind of weird and matrixy. What begins?
What?
Don't cry.
I wasn't gonna cry. I just kind of wanted to know what's going on. Alright, maybe I'll cry if that'll make something happen. When he said it begins, what he meant was he will begin, at this point, to appear periodically and say mysterious shit. This will continue for the entire game.
Hey, wait!
I'm waiting for you. I already told you that. I'm waiting on you.
Not this way!
Not this way! It's a big ball of water.
We called it sin.
I call it a big ball of water.
Sin?
Yeah, well done. You successfully repeated the one syllable I spoke. Or a syllable. Are you chewing on something, Titus? What was... And I'm playing this on an emulator, so there were going to be minor graphical glitches. The sound has been good so far, which makes me happy, because the last time I was playing with this, the sound went to hell. And I was really worried I wasn't going to be able to LP this at all. But it seems to have corrected itself, more or less.
Take it.
Take it like a man.
A gift from Jekt.
It's a sword with a big chunk missing. Yep, so if you haven't figured it out yet, folks, or if I keep talking over the important plot points, Jekt is this guy's dad,
I hope
who
you
was
know how to use it.
a really famous... Well, I'd be able to use it better if there wasn't a big chunk missing out of the middle of it. See, that? There's a big chunk missing out of his sword. So, Titus is a...
Ones don't matter. We cut through.
Titus is an athlete. He plays some kind of game that I don't understand that involves water and tackling people. His dad was named Jekt, and he was a famous guy in the same sport. Titus doesn't like his dad. Also, there's a guy named Orin, and it appears the city's being destroyed. That's pretty much the story of this one. We'll attack stuff. See on the left, or on the right of the screen, you can see a little bar that tells you whose turn is coming next. I'll get into it as the game goes on, but gameplay-wise, this is a very straightforward, not at all challenging game. A lot of the complaints about Final Fantasy games being too linear, yeah, this game, even though it's my favorite Final Fantasy game, one of my favorite games of all time, it's guilty of pretty much all the sins that have ever been ascribed to Final Fantasy games. Lengthy summoning sequences are coming eventually. Complete lack of any freedom of movement as you just keep going wherever the plot tells you. Battles that mostly consist of just hitting the attack button. I still love it. Spines. Oh, we got shot with spines. As you can see, Orin has the next turn, then Monster E, then Titus, then various other monsters. We don't get little spiffy pictures, sadly. Said cut the ones that matter. What he's referring to is that in this case you can target the ones behind. You can see Orin kind of looking back over his shoulder there at them because he's going to target them. I find that kind of amusing. It's like Orin looking over here. Boom. But that one doesn't matter because as you see, replacement comes up. That's what they've been trying to tell us. This is a battle with an infinite number of these guys will show up. So you just have to kill the ones in front, because the ones in the back will always respawn. The ones in the front, there's no reason they wouldn't have replacements show up, they just don't. He stopped pretty suddenly there. Titus is like, you really want to run up to that thing? It's kind of gross. And I think he's got a point. This thing's gonna bust out with Demi. Classic Final Fantasy spell. Takes off a fraction of your total hit points. Bosses love to use it because it's kind of...
Can't wait to die.
Are you talking to me or that thing? Oh, fudge, I'm in trouble. Overdrives. I forgot about this. Overdrives, with Orin at least, are going to involve inputting very specific commands on the controller. And the commands will be shown to me using the PS2 buttons, triangle, square, circle, and X. I don't have that on this controller, so I'm kind of screwed. I think I kind of remember which was which. Anyway, Overdrive. So when a character's overdrive gauge begins, or beneath the HP MP display is full, the character may use a special unique attack one time, blah 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 blah. So I can attempt to do Bushido, which is his overdrive. It's this game's version of the limit break, of course. Except that I'm going to totally mess this up, because I have to put in a command input within a certain time. What to do? Down, don't. You can still do an attack, it just isn't full power unless you do the input correctly. So with Orin, I will probably throughout the entire game not be able to use his overdrives properly because using a controller which doesn't have the things marked right. Not to mention, on this particular controller, the just getting the up, down, left, right part to work out correctly seems to be a bit dodgy. I'm having trouble with that even when I'm not having to figure out which of these buttons on this controller, which are not marked, represents a triangle. Anyway, as I was saying about the Demi Spell, it takes off a fraction of your total hit points, your current hit points, not your max hit points, which means it can never really kill you. And bosses love to use it because it's kind of intimidating and scary. They take off a big amount of hit points from you when you're fully healed, and they seem really powerful. But in fact, it's kind of a fake because they're really not that dangerous a spell. It's certainly not if it's the only spell that the thing has. And this boss, which is basically a part of a tutorial, all it can do is Demi. You're not meant to be able to lose this fight. And as you can see, Titus's overdrive gauge at the bottom of the screen is almost full. Specifically designed so that we can now use his overdrive, Spiral Cut. His overdrive will involve just hitting one button at the correct time. So normally it's just as difficult as Orin's, maybe a little bit easier than Orin's. Because of my controller setup, it's way easier than Orin's. Skill-wise, Orin has Power Break. I might as well use it. I don't think it really does any good here. The Power Break skill, as you'll see much later, when we start getting into leveling our characters and selecting their skills and stuff, decreases the offensive attack power of an enemy that's hit by it, but this thing uses magic instead of like physical attacks, so that does nothing really. So they set you up to use your two overdrives. It might be that this battle would be over by now if I had done Orin's overdrive correctly and hit for more damage. You can see we've got 10 potions and 3 Phoenix down, so they're not going to throw you out there empty-handed. But really, because I didn't do the overdrive correctly, we just have to hack away at it for a few extra turns here. We should be fine. And I guess it's kind of sort of losing tentacles as we hit it, but sort of indicates that you're damaging it more. I don't think most enemies have something like that, so don't get used to it. Oh, it's gone flaccid and limp. Its girlfriend is disappointed. It's like, well, it's your fault. I'm under so much pressure at work, and then you just start yelling at me, and how am I, the giant mutant hell creature, supposed to perform? Yep. I still can't go to the menu screen and make sure that Traveler's Save Sphere Level 1 stores a record of your travels, also fully restores your party's HP and MP. We're gonna go to, as you can see, yeah, I know that it bugs some folks, but I do a lot of playing ahead. 47 hours is not as much as it looks like, because a lot of that was spent playing the Blitzball minigame, which you need to play to get stuff for one of your characters. And a lot of it was, this is like what I'll tend to do if I'm on like an airplane flight. Not on mil-air, of course, but on like commercial air flight. I might play around with this. Probably not, actually, really, but I'm on the train, or I'm just like watching a Mystery Science Theater or something. This is the game that I've been working on, because this game can require a lot of grinding if you do what I did. You choose the non-standard sphere grid and try to level up your characters in new and interesting ways, which I'll show you later. But we're going to go ahead and take the very top default slot. You can see 27 minutes as opposed to 47 hours and 39 minutes. And I guess we'll end the video here. So, folks, what do we got? Well, we got me showing off my PC SX2 emulator thingy again, using the same technique I've been using in RTK to split my videos. when we come back, you're going to see... What have we seen so far? Well, I guess I thanked you guys for subscribing. I don't know if I did. I'm still thinking this might be a 1,000 subscriber special, although I won't make much reference to it in the future since I'm not sure. So I want to thank everybody who subscribed and joined up and gave me the courage to LP a game that I really enjoy and wanted to play, even though I know that it's been LP'd by a million other folks. So far in the story, we started playing a game of underwater soccer, but suddenly the city was under attack. And Oren mysteriously gives us a sword with a chunk missing out of it, tells us it's a gift from our father. And he seems to know what's going on. We certainly don't. Hopefully we'll find out some more in the next video. Thanks for watching, folks. See you then.